Hare Ganga Mahadev Sri Shankara Parvati Pati Mahadev Sri Shankara.
Namaste, it's Sahara Rose, and welcome back to the Highest Self podcast, a place where we discuss what makes you your soul's highest evolvement. If it is your first time listening, welcome. If you're here every week, hey, yo, what's happening, sugar mama or sugar daddy or whoever you are? I love you. Thank you for being back. And today I wanted to do a quick episode about how even the things that suck, I'm talking about the things that you're like, oh God, why is this happening to me? Or the universe, are you for freaking real? I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me? Anyone relate? I'm talking about why even those things, even those moments, even those all hell break loose times in our lives are redirection. So a quote came through me a couple weeks ago that I've been sharing on the podcast, sharing on my Instagram, and that it's rejection is redirection in our soul's highest calling. So every time we are being rejected, every time we hear no, every time a door is slammed in our face, every time we thought we were going to get that job, we didn't get it, we were going to get that house, didn't work out, that relationship was going to work out, they broke up with me. Every time this happens, we are being redirected to something that is better serving us, something that we may not even know about in this moment. But the universe has a far grander vision than we do. The universe sees shit for us that we do not see for ourselves. I mean, if you were to even imagine where your life is today 5 years ago, 10 years ago, could you have ever imagined that it would have ended up this way? You know, maybe you had a totally different vision, but for some reason you got redirected to being exactly where you are right now. And aren't you really freaking happy about it? So this redirection is happening on grand scales as well as on micro scales. So I want to share with you two examples on very micro scales, kind of embarrassing moments that have happened to me in the past 2 days that I want to share with you. And I just did a little IGTV on this. If you're not following me on Instagram, I am Sahara Rose. I did an IGTV like sweaty right after it happened. So I've been doing a lot of these in the moment IGTVs. So follow me over there at I am Sahara Rose. But I'm going to share with you the first situation that happened to me. This is now 3 days ago. So I was going to my morning bar class and I drove there early. I've moved now, so the bar class is like a 30-minute drive away, but I still love going, so I still go. And I get there, stuck in traffic, finally park my car. I'm like about to be late. And I noticed that I can't find my wallet. So I'm like looking through my car. I never lose my wallet. I've never lost it in my life. I'm looking for my wallet. Where could it be? Where could it be? I can't find it. I can't even park my car and go to the bar class and think about it later. So I'm like, oh my God, I realized what happened. That the day before I was putting gas in my car and I put my wallet on top of my car. Has anyone done this before? And I remember even looking at the wallet like, you better not forget that, Sahara. Like, don't leave it up there. And I was like being extra mindful of not forgetting it. But what happened, I got distracted and I forgot it on top of my car and drove off, and I don't know, the wallet flew off or fell or where it went. But by the time I realized the next day, there were already multiple deposits that had been tried to taken out from different ATM machines, over $6,000. And it was officially stolen. And not just did it have my money in there, cash in there, gift cards in there, but also my ID, my driver's license that I need to get around places. So I'm like, shit. What the hell? Like, why is this happening to me? So I go to the bank there. They can't even identify me because I don't have an ID. And it's this whole long process. I'm like, oh my, like, why is this going on? And I know the universe is always teaching us things, but I mean, when shitty situations happen like that, you're like, what the hell are you teaching me? Like, this sounds more like a punishment. And I'm going to admit to you that even in that moment, I'm like, does the universe even exist? Do you guys ever feel like that? Like when something bad happens, you're like, is this all bullshit? Like, if I really trusted and karma and all these things were real, like, why is this bad thing happening to me? So I went there. I went to that low, and I'm being totally vulnerable with you guys to share with you. As a spiritual teacher, I got to that low of, why is this happening? Victimhood. I caught myself right there, like, okay, you're going into a negative spiral and you're blaming, and the only person to really blame is yourself. And this is the universe teaching you something. So what could this situation be teaching me? If all things are benevolent, if all things are for my highest good, what is this situation right now teaching me? First thing that came up is mindfulness, that I need to be more mindful through everything that I walk through in my life. Not just mindful when I'm writing a book or doing a podcast, but mindful in where I park my car. How I can't even tell you how many times I've parked my car in a parking lot. Here in LA, the parking lots are like freaking cities. And I come back and I'm like, I have no idea which parking lot I even parked in, let alone what floor and what number and color. And I spend like 30 minutes to an hour looking for this car, trying to press the alarm. The alarm's not sounding. I'm mad at the car. Even though it's me, I should have just looked around when I got out of the car instead of rushing to the next thing. I should have looked around, been mindful, said, okay, I parked in PB 36, written that down in my phone, maybe taken a picture, and continued with my day. So being more mindful. How do we be more mindful? We cultivate mindfulness practices. We're mindful in everything that we do. The way that we eat. I am someone who definitely will be eating while working a lot of the time, especially with my husband comes home late. So I'm alone and I'm like, great, more time to work. And that's not being mindful at all. Waking up, even rushing to a workout class first thing in the morning, not very mindful. So mindfulness, I was like, okay, I hear you right now. This is a result of me not being mindful. But the second lesson that I learned from it is to value my money. And a friend of mine, Tara, who's been on this podcast, she shared with me an interesting story. She said that she remembered when she was in high school, she was dating this girl, and the girl was well off. Her parents were doctors, and they would go out to eat at a drive-thru, and every time the drive-thru would give her change, she would just throw the change in the back of the car. And Tara, who grew up on food stamps, was like, are you just throwing the money in the back of the car? Like, that's $10. Like, I could use $10. A lot of people could use $10. You're just throwing it in the back of the car. But this girl just didn't really value money, that she just, to the extent that she's just throwing cash in the back of her car. Now, though I was not throwing my money around, in a way, energetically, I was. How many of you actually know each month how much you spend and in what categories you spend it in? How many of you guys track, okay, these are the expenses I'm going to need in the coming month. This is how much I should budget for it. This is how much I should invest. How many of you guys do that? I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. Even going through my bank statement, I'm like, I don't even remember what half these things are, but I think I did them. Like sometimes the only times, I'm being really honest right now, sometimes the only times I'll actually go into the bank account is when I'm in overdraft and I have to go into the bank account, So it immediately showed me like I need to have a more fluid, dynamic, and personal relationship with my money. I need to treat that money like my girl. Like I need to take her whining and dining. I need to ask her, what does she want for dinner? I need to cook her up some tempeh. I need to make my money feel special. I need to go on money dates. I need to sit aside and count, how much did I make this month? How much did I spend this month? What categories am I spending in? What can I cut back on? What could I invest in? I need to do that. And because my relationship with my money has been very vata, which I talked about in my Abundance Mindset Masterclass, our relationships with money can be characterized in the doshas. And a vata relationship is, money comes and goes. You're not really sure how much you spent. You're just sort of like, money, that's heavy and dirty and weird. I don't really want anything to do with it. And that what ends up happening is you overspend, or you lose your wallet, literally, or you get taken advantage of, or so many other examples. A really good example of this is Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson is like prime example of a vata. And I'm going to be doing a podcast episode very soon, so make sure you're subscribed on celebrities and doshas and what dosha each celebrity is. So be sure to subscribe for that. But Michael Jackson, very vata. So we can see that he is eccentric, he's an artist, he's creative, he's also very slender, petite, very vata. And what else do we know about him? Well, we know that he went bankrupt. He acquired what would have been today's amount of money, about $2 billion, brought to today's money. So that was like $800 million in his time in the 80s and early 90s, which is about $2 billion today. However, he died in about $60 million of debt. Like, how does one even acquire that much debt? And the thing is, when your relationship with money is vata, you can't even hold on to it because you almost don't know how to handle that dense of energy, because money is very dense. It's our physical energy. And you end up just losing it. Like, are you maybe one of those type of people, or maybe you know someone that the moment they get money, they're just spending it? Well, this is the vata relationship. So in the case of Michael Jackson, he, created the Never Never Land Ranch and bought all of this expensive antique art and, just really, really lived beyond his means. And his means was a multi-millionaire, but he still figured out a way to outspend himself. Why? His relationship with money was vata, which is up in the air. It wasn't grounded. It didn't have that pitta. It didn't have that solidity. It didn't have that relationship that the pitta energy has, that we're calculating transactions. We know what's coming in and out. And that kapha, which is the saving, the holding on. So what this situation taught me was that my relationship with money was too vata. And because I wasn't holding on to it and really being mindful with it, that the universe took it from me. It said, oh, you're not paying attention to this? Okay, I'll just take it away from you and give it to someone else who deeply is paying attention to money, which is obviously the person who withdrew all the money from my bank. So we can see here that the universe is just going to create whatever situation that we need to learn. So I'm deeply grateful that I lost my wallet. I really am, because it taught me important lessons that, thank God, I'm learning these lessons now versus acquiring $60 million of debt. I have to go wait in line in the DMV and get some new credit cards, but I'm going to be okay. Like, it's just a bump in the road, but I'd much rather learn this lesson here and now and listen to it than have it keep showing up and I'm not paying attention. I get another wallet and it gets stolen, and then I get money stolen from my bank, and then this and then that, and I just keep getting money taken away from me because I'm not paying attention to it. So lessons are going to keep showing up until you learn from them. So do you want to repeat the lesson, or do you want to learn from it? Now, the other micro example that I have was one that happened to me yesterday. So yesterday I had my new temporary credit card in hand. I'm ready to go back to the bar class, get up, waiting in traffic, finally park my car, and I'm 1 minute late. And normally you have 5 minutes to go in, but the doors were locked. I'm banging on the door, no one's in there. I can see everyone's working out, but there's no one in the front desk. I'm calling them, no one's working out. I'm like, Spirit, what now? I mean, I just lost my wallet yesterday and now you're locking me out of the bar class? Like, what is happening? So I'm like, I'm not going to drive all the way back home and not have a workout. I need to figure out something. So I go on ClassPass and I'm looking, okay, what are the workouts near me that are in the next 15 minutes or so, because I have a lot to do today. And I see that there's a class called Tribe. And there's a Pilates studio near here called Tribe Pilates. So I just assumed it was the Tribe Pilates class. I was like, okay, I'll go. Sign up. They don't give you returns once you've signed up. And then I put in the address. I'm like, wait, this is for this yoga studio. And if you guys don't know my little yoga story, I used to be an Ashtanga yogi, 3 hours a day, Mysore style practice, living in India, eating a meal a day, studying with a guru. I lived in India for 2 years, guys, and that's what I was doing. I was on the path to become a yogi. And then I super badly injured my wrist. I just was hypermobile, again, Vata body type, didn't have the right structure. And I injured my wrist so bad that even now, 4 years later, I can't put any pressure on my wrist. I've gone x-rays, done everything you can imagine, and it's just some sort of ligament problem. So I can't go to yoga classes because I can't do a plank or a handstand or pretty much anything because it's all on your hands. I can go on my fist, but you don't want to do all these vinyasas on your fist. It kind of starts to hurt after a while. So I don't really go to yoga classes, but here I am. I'm like, oh, great. Now I just spent $20-something on a yoga class and I can't even go. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm just going to modify. I was wearing a cute outfit. It was a hot yoga class. I'm like, oh, I don't even want to get sweaty, but whatever. I'm just going to go because I'm going to be even more mad at myself if I go home and I just waste all this time and I didn't even work out. So I go to this Tribe yoga class and it's totally dark in there, and there's a drummer, and he's like drumming, and I realized it was like this like really cool free flow yoga class to these shamanic drums, and it was their last week that they were doing it ever, and Spirit essentially blocked me from going to my routine bar class that I do every single day to going to this really authentic, cool, kind of one-of-a-kind yoga class that also helped me rewrite my story about, oh, I can't practice yoga because of my wrist. And I figured out ways that I could still, do a lot of poses on my feet or on my back and still be part of the yoga class, not 100% doing my own thing. But since it was a more free flow class, I could still really modify things without like disappointing the teacher. So this class was actually the perfect preparation that I needed for the healing that I had that day, yesterday, with the Yawanawa tribe. The Yawanawa tribe are this beautiful tribe from the Amazon in Brazil. And they were one of the last tribes to have human contact. They only recently began human contact with people outside of their tribe, and they're here to bring the ancient Amazonian medicines to the people through song, through shamanic practices, through plant medicine ceremony as well. I was going for a healing without plant medicine and a song circle. So Spirit blocked me from going to the bar class so I could go to this shamanic drum yoga class in like the sweating hot heat so I could detoxify, so I could stretch and let my body not work out severely for one day, but actually just like allow myself to open up and surrender into the ease and prepare my body and spirit for this healing that I was about to have. So again, the immediate response was, oh, why am I literally locked out of my class, to, wow, thank you for redirecting me to something I would have never gone to had I not been locked out of the class. So these are just little examples of things that show up every single day. Something shows up like this for all of us. But most of us, we don't see the lesson in it. We see, oh, this sucks. This life's unfair. Everything is so difficult. And because we're not learning for the lessons, they just keep showing up in more drastic ways. But the moment we're like, okay, what is this teaching me? Got it. And we actually take that lesson in and step into it and embody its message, then everything becomes so fun. We realize how many signs we're getting all the time. Like, for example, when I'm on my phone and then suddenly the app shuts down, I'm like, thank you, Spirit, I hear you. You don't want me to be on that app. Or I'm trying to send a voice note while driving and then the voice note doesn't record. I'm like, I hear you, Spirit. You don't want me to send voice notes while driving. Or whatever it is that I'm doing, even on my phone, even through technology, I wrote this whole caption, the caption gets deleted. That wasn't the caption I was meant to write. I've written entire chapters of my book and they get deleted. That wasn't the chapter I was meant to write. So we are always being directed. Even things that suck are redirection. Like when you really step into it, it is so freaking cool how provided for we are. It is like there's this incredible force that is watching all of us all the time and making things work in our highest favor. But the only tools that they have are, the little everyday things like your phone and your parking meter and your wallet and just the tangible things that we don't think of as sacred. But really, everything is sacred. There is nothing that is not sacred because Spirit works through any medium and every device. I mean, hell, I met my freaking husband through Bumble. So Spirit works through everything, through a dating app, through Instagram, through a parking meter, through a police officer, through whatever it is. So when we realize that everything is redirection, we move so much faster, so much more easily, and so much more gracefully to the direction of our highest calling. So I want you to think about what are the things that have shown up for you recently. What are the shitty situations that actually may have been divine intervention? And I want you to share with me on Instagram at I am Sahara Rose. And I also want to invite you to join my 5-day Rose Gold Goddess Challenge. So this challenge is taking place September 1st through 5th on Instagram, as well as through your email. And each day we will be embodying a new goddess archetype. So we'll be stepping into our highest selves, our Parvati. The intro song of this podcast, which so many of you have messaged me loving, is an ode to Parvati. We'll be stepping into our creative Saraswathi, our abundant Lakshmi, our wild Kali, our powerful Durga, and each day learning about ourselves in this process. So this is a free challenge that I am so excited to have you a part of. And I'll also be launching my Rose Gold Goddesses membership community right after. So this is going to be essentially the crew. This is going to be the tribe of people who listen to this podcast, who are doing the work, who are on the spiritual path. We're going to be connecting to each other. We're going to have live events. I'm going to be hosting Rose Gold Goddess launch parties this fall in LA on September 28th. In New York on October 10th, I believe, and then Miami on October 17th. These are exclusive events just for Rose Gold Goddess members. So by joining, you'll be able to come to the event. We'll have monthly webinars dedicated to the goddesses, expert calls. Lots of people you've listened to on the podcast like this are going to be having private interviews just for Rose Gold Goddesses members. We're going to have an app with location services so you can see what members are around you and you can connect with them, meet up with them in person, have dinner with them, do your own goddess circles with them. Essentially, this is the community that I so deeply long to be part of on my spiritual journey, that I see so many of you guys with incredible stories, incredible insight, incredible gifts. And I just want to bring you all together in this beautiful place that we step into our highest selves and embody our inner goddesses. So head over to rosegoldgoddesses.com. Again, rosegoldgoddesses.com. Over there, you can join the waitlist. We will send you information on the challenge as well as Rose Gold Goddesses when we open doors this September. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.